that when trying to solve proportions, it's actually easier than it looks. Okay? Things we're going to do is I'm just going to grab, let's say this first problem. We can look at this several different ways. But something that says 1 to 8, and I'll take this other guy's 3, let's say to 4, okay? You can actually write it like this also, 1, 8, and 3 over 4. 14, I guess you might say. You could just look at this and know they're not the same proportion. Why? Because the closest number to this would be what? You multiply this by 2. You could just look at some of these and get the answer. 1/8 would be proportional to 2 over 16. Well, this is 3 over 14. That's not even going to be close because actually the number is actually higher on top and lower on the bottom. So you know this is actually a higher proportion. But let's just work it to see whether this is in proportionate, the way they're telling you to do it, okay? One is basically you can cross multiply, right? If I cross multiply, I'm going to cross multiply this way, cross multiply this way, if these numbers match. And they don't. So if I cross multiply this way, I'd get the number 14. It's not equal to 24, so they're not proportional. Another way you could do this is dividing these numbers. And I'll show you why that doesn't work, right? So I can say 1 divided by 8 is going to give me the number, a decimal, 0.125. Okay, it's not going to be equal to 3 divided by 14, which is a number of 0.214. So this is just kind of showing you different ways to kind of look at this when you're doing proportional numbers like this. Let's grab one that looks a whole lot better. Let's grab this guy, okay? Now I know that this one's in proportion, okay? So I'm going to show you why using my testing format. First one, 4 divided by 5, and I'm going to compare it, right, to 12 divided by 15. If we cross multiply, we go this way and this way, 4 times 15 is going to be 60, and 5 times 12 is 60, so they're in proportion, okay? If I divide 4 divided by 5, I get 0.8. If I divide 12 divided by 15, I get the same number, equals 0.8. So these are in proportion, okay? That's another way you can do this to see whether or not they work, right? So another way is it's using fractions, okay? So this is probably the one that's probably, it's just another means of doing it, right? And you have 12 over 15. If I divide this one by 3 and this one by 3, I get the number 4 divided by 5, which is the same number. There's literally 3 different methods for doing this, okay? So when you're looking at these things, it's a way of kind of solving it. Let's do one of these problems down here, which actually seems like it'd be a little confusing, and I have stuff written down here. But let me just take this guy, right? And I'll explain what's going on. I have 5 over y equals 25 over 10, right? Okay. How you would do this, okay? And they're saying find the missing term in each proportion, right? And then check your work to justify your answer. Right? See how this works. Well, the first thing you do is you cross multiply, okay? 5 times 10 is 50 equals, and I have 25y, divide by 25, divide by 25, then I have 2 equals y, okay? So I can think of it as 5 over 2 is being equal to 25 over 10. So I can solve problems. Sort of interesting using this cross multiply method, okay? If you want, you can check your answer. Let's do it on the calculator. If I go 5 divided by 2, I get the answer 2.5. Obviously, 25 divided by 10 is 2.5. So this checks. That makes sense, okay? So you're checking your answer. That's what you would do. Let's take a look at another one. I'm going to clear the slate here. I'm going to go down, right? I'm going to look for ones that look a little weird. This is a weird one, right? So I have the numbers 2/3 equals x over 15, right? Equals 8 over y, right? I can break this apart in 2 different problems. Since they're all equal, let me do this one first. I go 2/3 equals, I have x over 15, right? 2 times 15 is 30, right? Equals 3x, 10 equals x, right? I can put it back in. 2 divided by 3 is equal to 0.666, right? And say 10 divided by 15. I just wrote that wrong. Okay, it's going to be equal to the same thing, 0.666, right? Now let's do this 8 over y part. I grab the same number. I can grab 2/3 equals 8 over y, right? 8 times 3 is 24. Y times 2 is what? 2y. Divide by 2, divide by 2. Y equals 12. So 8 divided by 12 is going to be equal to 0.666, right? So let's think about what we're doing here. We are looking at things and seeing whether or not they're proportional, but you could break them apart into segments. That's how you would do these, okay? So this last part is they're actually using the set of numbers to form a proportion, use cross products to understand, right? So they took these numbers and put them against each other, 76 and 1 and 11 and 836. So basically each set of numbers, you're going to move them back and forth to try to figure out how you can get these things to function, right? I don't want to give this away anymore. We have to. They just kind of make that. And I want to do this one. This is where you actually get the problem solved, okay? Trying to keep the video short, but Jayita's snack mix contains peanuts and pecans and a ratio of 8:3. So peanuts, I put 8 peanuts, right, to exactly 3 pecans, right? How many grams of pecans are there in the mix? So we don't know how many grams of pecans, right? If it contains 584 grams of peanuts, 584 grams of peanuts, right? So you put this. So it's a cross multiply. So it's a cool way to solve problems. This way to this way. So I have 8x equals, and if I do 584 times 3, I get the number 1752. Divide by 8, divide by 8, and you get the number 219. X equals 219 grams of pecans. That's how you would solve that. So that's kind of an introduction to solving proportions.